One of the things potentially complicating Justin Pearson being reappointed to the state legislature in Tennessee is a threat that we are now hearing is apparently, at least behind the scenes, being levied against the people who'd have to do the reappointing. Apparently, Memphis could lose funding for some major projects if Pearson is reappointed. According to Shelby County Commissioner Erica Sugarman, leaders in Nashville threatened to withhold millions of dollars in state funding for projects in the Memphis area if commissioners were to reappoint Pearson. Quote, "We are also being threatened by the state to take away funding, needed funding to run our schools, to run our municipalities. And so, for example, FedEx Forum, the promised $350 million, they're talking about snatching that away. So again, this about bullying people into submission, and enough is enough. We've got to stand for something or fall for everything. And we've been bullied by the state for too long now." So look, I love the defiant tone to that response to it. It is telling, I think, that if these threats are happening, they are behind the scenes. This, like Saxton, the speaker of Tennessee, the Republican, he's been willing to say a bunch of stuff, at least up until Thursday. He's been very vocal about the need to punish these individuals. It would be weird if all of a sudden he didn't want to draw attention to the fact that him and his party, which already exercise effectively unchecked power, are willing to go to even more unprecedented lengths to, again, about somebody speaking through a bullhorn. Those were the stakes. Somebody was loud, someone interrupted our little talk for a bit. That you're now going to snatch away hundreds of millions of dollars of funding, that is how egregious you find these violations to be. They really do seem to want to look like the ultimate bad guys, draw the eye of the nation multiple weeks in a row. Okay, that's an interesting political strategy. Francesca, what do you think?
It's just a strategy of deflection, right? This is what happens in the wake of every mass shooting, which is how can we get mad at the messenger? How can we get mad at the reaction to this heinous thing that happened that is so preventable and so in front of our faces? And so this is a perfect opportunity. And yeah, they're young Black legislators. It's easy, let's take it out on them. And then we can kind of twist the narrative, and make it about, they defend BLM. No, yes, most likely, but they also are talking about what is a hugely and overwhelmingly popular reform in this country, which is basic background checks, which is the right to live, real pro-life policies when it comes to gun reform.
Yeah, we're gonna see. I'm glad that, again, I wish that the national media had gotten onto the story earlier. Might have been able to stop the expelling from actually happening. But throughout the weekend, they were very focused on this. There's been great platforms for both Jones and Pearson to use to spread their message. Hopefully that will continue on into the future. I will also say, as a bit of a prediction, so I think it's a little bit easier for some in the media to focus on this story as an example of overreach by the Republicans, authoritarian overreach, and even willing to talk about the issue because the issue is gun violence, which the media is largely they find acceptable to talk about. If my guess about the broader politics of these two individuals are correct, if and when they start talking about some of the other things they'd like to push for, I wonder if the mainstream media is gonna be as excited to have them on.
Right.
But we'll see, we'll see.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.